Hi and welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to be sowing Antirrhinum seeds. We can all remember Antirrhinums, particularly because of their common name, which is the snapdragon. And as children I'm sure we all used to play with the flowers and open up the little mouth of the dragon. I'm sure many of us used to do that. I know that I did. I can remember growing these at Horticultural College in the late 90s and including these in summer bedding schemes. And at the time I used to think, yeah, they're okay, but there's nothing really special about them. But looking back, they are valuable plants and they do give you a lot of flower power all the way through up until the frosts. They're grown in the UK as a half-hardy annual, but in warmer countries these can be a short-lived perennial as well. They have lovely colourful flower spikes which are really attractive to the pollinators, so these make a really good wildlife plant. And they're also great for cutting, and they do last quite a while in a vase. So they've got multiple virtues, which is why I'm revisiting them this year, and we've already begun our sowing regime with these. We've sown some back in March and we did a seed sowing video about how to sow seeds. And this is where we're up to with these now. So some of these are ready for pricking out, and there's also some that are just beginning to germinate. Now these are quite slow growing. They're not as quick as the likes of cornflower or calendula, some of our other annuals that we grow in the UK. So it's wise to get them sown as early as possible. So we're in April, it's not too late to sow these. So I just wanted to show you this is the kind of thing we're looking at after about maybe 3 or 4 weeks of being sown. They're not growing that quickly, but they will make up for it as time goes on. So the first one I'm going to be sowing today is an Antirrhinum called Black Prince, and this is a lovely one, lovely deep crimson flowers, and this grows to a height of around 35 centimeters tall. So this can be perfect for your containers, which is what we're going to grow them in. Now I'm just making sure before I open this packet that they are not going to spill out everywhere, because the seeds for these are very small. Now hopefully they're in a packet. Inside the packet, yes they are, perfect. So be careful when you open these because they can have a habit of spilling out. And I'm just doing it over the tray just to make sure if they do spill out they're going to go in the right compartment. So I'm using this tray which I've split into two just by putting a piece of cane down the middle. And I'm going to be sowing 2 varieties today. The first one being this lovely Black Prince. So when we finally get inside the packet, I'll be able to tip some seeds out. Now they're very small. Very small, very tiny. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a little small pinch in my hand and just scatter them very thinly over the top of the surface of the compost. So this is just multi-purpose compost in this tray, and I'm just sowing very thinly. I don't want to sow too densely. So I'm going to put the rest of them back because that is plenty for us. Now the thing about Antirrhinums is that they need light to germinate. So don't be covering them over with another layer of compost because they do need that light. Now if you're using vermiculite, that would also be fine because that does allow some of the light in. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to leave them uncovered. That's what I did with these ones, and these ones are germinating just fine. So that's the first one. That one is Black Prince and it's a lovely deep crimson red. So let's pop them back for another time. Now the next one is one called Lucky Lips. Now how beautiful does that look? That has 2 colours in there, a nice crimson and like a creamy white. Beautiful one, and it's a little bit taller. This gets to 60 centimeters tall. So let's have a look at these ones. So the seeds will be identical to the Black Prince. Very small. And as I say, with all Antirrhinums, don't cover them up because they do need light. And I'm going to place these ones on the opposite side. So I've made sure I've got some labels already in there so I know which one's which. And I'm going to be planting these when they get growing into containers. Now when you have very, very small seeds like this, it can be quite easy to oversow. So I'm being very careful that I'm not going to do too many plants. And that's plenty. Put those ones back. And that's it. We don't need to cover them over like I've already said. I'm going to water these from below. So I'm going to place these into another tray with some water in, and the water will be drawn up through the compost and the seeds will be wet through that method. And I'm going to place these on a sunny window ledge where they can happily germinate. And don't forget, these are half hardy annuals in the UK, so we need to make sure they're protected from frost. And when these are pricked out, they can be grown on in larger pots, but remember, they don't get planted out into containers or the outside until the risk of frost has passed, which in this neck of the woods is around the end of May. And remember, they need to be hardened off before you do that. To get the best in terms of flowers, it's advisable that you nip out the growing shoot when they get 2 or 3 sets of leaves, and that will just make the plants bush out. And when plants bush out in that way, we get more flowers. It encourages more stems to form and more flowers, which is what we're looking for. So if, like me, you were thinking, oh, Antirrhinums, they're old-fashioned, they're going out of favour, they're not very good, they remind you of your grandma's plants and bedding schemes, think again, because there are some nice varieties. I've just chosen 2 today to grow, and I've already got the other one, which is a mix that I'm growing in this small container as well. So have a go. Don't discount them as garden plants. They're really, really good. And of course they have the added bonus of not being liked by slugs and snails. They are resistant to the ravages of slugs and snails, which is, to me, a bonus. So I'm quite happy. I've now got 3 different sets of Antirrhinum to be flowering this summertime. And again, they do flower. Once they begin to flower, they flower all the way through to the frosts. And the more you pick for the house, the more they will continue to grow, because every time you pick the flowers, more side shoots will grow, which means more flowers will come from those side shoots. Thank you so much for watching this video on sowing Antirrhinum seeds. I do hope you found it informative and enjoyable. Please give us a like if you've not already done so already. Please subscribe, and please drop any comments you have in the comments box below. We'll see you very soon on the next video. In the meantime, please do take care.